The Rock and Metal Block presents The Interview with your host, Eric. And in this episode, I bring you Jimi and Jonjo of Rave In Fire. What's up, metalheads? Hey, look, there's Tamron. There's Tamron. Hey, I had the pleasure of actually interviewing a band called Rave In Fire. Well, actually, two members of the band, Jonjo and Jimi, the drummer, Jonjo, the guitar player and producer. And had a great conversation with these guys. I definitely want you to check this interview out. They're a band hailing from Spain, Madrid, to be exact. And they're part of the new wave of traditional heavy metal. The bands that I'm hoping is going to carry the flag and carry the torch for future metal as it comes, you know, because Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and Scorpions, all those bands, our favorite bands from the 80s, are sort of like on their way out. There's going to be bands like Rave In Fire on High Roller Records that's going to carry that torch. And so check out my interview with Jonjo and Jimi. Yeah. And stick around for after the interview. Check out their video, Still Standing. That song is going to be on their new album coming out in January. Square One. Get out there and get it. We are live and ready. Well, not live, but we are ready. Here is Rave In Fire. We got two members, Jonjo and Jimi, in the house. Jimi on drums and Jonjo on guitar. How you guys doing?
Very well. Thanks for having us, Eric.
Yeah, man. You know, came across your band on the new wave of traditional heavy metal, and it's like that channel is like, you know, I've always dabbled in over time, you know, like through a couple years, you know, found a couple bands that's cool, but then one day I was just going down that rabbit hole where I was like just finding all these really great, and I'm thinking like, why isn't this like bigger? Like, why, you know, because we got mainstream metal bands like the Lizzie Hales and the Hailstorms and the Mastodons and all those bands, which is great. I mean, it's great mainstream, but these bands, like your band and the bands I've discovered on there are like, they need to be the ones carrying the torch for heavy metal. You know, I'm 57 years old, so I grew up in the time when it was like, you know, when metal was like, you know, like the 80s metal. Obviously got Wasp on, you know, saw them in concert in 84. But it's so refreshing to see bands of this generation, or this, you know, you guys are obviously way younger than me, carrying that torch. And I would love to see you guys being that next Iron Maiden or that next Judas Priest, because those guys are in their 70s and they're not going to be touring anymore after that. So how did Rave In Fire start, and who's the brainstorm of the band, or as far as putting it together?
Well, we both are.
Okay, cool.
We actually met in 2015.
Okay.
We were rehearsing here in Madrid, and we just published in a web page. Do you remember the web page, Jimi? Atisa, yeah, exactly. Just a contact web page for musicians that want to get together and form bands and whatever. And we just found each other. We formed this band. We just wanted to play heavy metal, but we didn't have everything very clear. It came with the years and with different lineups and everything. So until 2020, we didn't end up with this real solid lineup and solid formation and solid clear idea of what we wanted to be.
How did you find it? How did you find them? Were you taking on ads or anything, or did you just meet them kind of like off the cuff as well? And
well, firstly, we met the same way as we met Jimi and me met via this contact webpage and so on. And we also released an EP, Chronicle of Timeless End, in 2018. But after that, two band members were out of the band for professional and personal issues and so on. And well, we just had a friend who is Cele, who wanted to try to sing in a heavy metal band, because she used to be a singer for folk bands and jazz and everything else, but she did have a very powerful voice and wanted to try this.
Yeah, it was that's the first thing I noticed. I mean, she sounds like she's been around, you know, as far as like her voice is very seasoned and very
exactly. She's a very well-rounded singer, and the first time that I saw her in the studio singing "Shout," which is a single of the Sons of Alive record.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing. I mean,
when Cele got in the band, we did her a few auditions. We did a rehearsal audition, and we did a studio audition as well.
Okay.
And in fact, the recording of the song "Shout" is the original audition from
really? Wow.
Cele. Yeah.
Wow.
She did so well. She even harmonized her own voice by ear. She was absolutely amazing.
Wow.
We were astonished with the amazing level.
And I imagine like the chemistry has to be important too. So did you find that you guys got along really well right off the bat, or was it more like, well, she can sing really good, but yet this and that, like some people run into that issue,
Well, no, she was a friend with Jonjo, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So
I didn't know her, but Jonjo did, and everything turned out very naturally and very cool.
Yeah, we used to be friends for more than 10 years, so we knew each other for a long time.
Yeah, so it was already kind of in there, like you already had that good establishment. What about Sarah? How did she get in there?
Well, Sarah was my girlfriend for a long time ago, and she still is.
Well, she is.
She still is,
yeah, but at that moment,
yeah,
exactly. At that moment, she was a guitar player, and in fact, we played guitar together in a band in the past, in Cramp, a heavy metal band from Madrid. And well, she just wanted to change instruments to try to play bass, and it was more or less the same thing with Cele. Sarah was a very good rhythmic player.
Yeah.
And then bass came naturally to her. Nice. It was like an instant match. I mean,
yeah. And I noticed like the dynamic between, because like there's always been that good dynamic when bands have a female and males in the bands, like like a Fleetwood Mac, ABBA, bands like that. Were you guys ever aware of a band called Madam X in the 80s? You ever heard of them? Like the really big hair. They had a song.
I don't think I have. No.
Yeah, this was them in '84.
Oh, okay.
So they got the two female, and back then it was kind of a big deal to see like two females in the band and two males. Especially the two were a guitar player and drummer. And you guys are like the opposite. You're the male guitar player and the male drummer, and they're the opposite. And but back then it was like, oh my God, they got because they would get girl group, I guess, guy groupies or whatever, and things like that. So it was kind of a big deal back then. Whereas now it just feels like, not a big deal. You got women and men, and then the music, like I said, it works. It just works well. But like, that's one thing I noticed when you guys were kind of. I was like, well, you got the two guys and two girls, but yet.
We definitely have to wear that clothes and the big hair. Yeah,
you could be the next Madam X. But yeah, they were like a great one of those like just glam metal bands from the 80s. It was one of my favorite bands back then. But
I'll check them out.
Yeah, check them out. And what about as far as like the Spain, being in the scene there, like what's that like, and like how does what's the club scene or the music scene like there? And have you ever played in the United States or looking towards playing in the United States?
We'll obviously looking forward to playing the United States. Obviously, it's a birthplace of rock and roll. Obviously, every band wants to play in the United States, and I believe that if everything goes according to plan, eventually we'll play in the USA. I think that will come naturally if everything goes as natural as it comes, it has come previously. And right now in Spain, the metal scene, I would say that there are more good bands than good audience. I would say. Back in the 70s and the 80s, there was like big audience and everybody, rock and roll was the mainstream music, everybody went to shows and stuff, and there were good bands. I don't know, people like Leño, Barón Rojo, Obús, and everything, mythical heavy metal bands in Spanish. But right now, I would say that the heavy metal scene, the bands are absolutely fantastic. There are people like Heaton, Red Shark, Long Shark, Raptor. There are a lot of amazing bands. Our friends Wild Heart, and the main difference I would say right now is that there are many English singing heavy metal bands in Spain, which until a few years it wasn't very common. I think that now we live in a more globalized world, and these things come naturally. And I would say now there's a fantastic heavy metal scene in Spain, but unfortunately, I think there's not a lot of audience right now. Heavy metal, it's sustained in Spain because of heavy metal clubs. We both are, Jonjo and I, members of a heavy metal club in Madrid here, Punk Metal Union. There are clubs all around the map of Spain, and those clubs are the foundations right now of heavy metal. If not for the clubs, the heavy metal in Spain would fall apart. Absolutely.
What's a typical draw for a club? Like, was it 300 people, 500,000 people? Like, what's the typical?
No, much less. In Madrid, we have the club has like 150 members or so. In Barcelona, 120, and in Valencia, something similar. Yeah.
So it's almost it's almost like you get more of an audience online than you can actually in the actual clubs, because there's not that many people going into the clubs. And
no, but those are the associates. Then the audience is there's more people, obviously, but in a show in a show of like new wave of traditional heavy metal in Madrid, you can have like 300 400 people, not more. I believe.
Yeah, it's about average for a club. Yeah, like I used to play the clubs in LA with my former band, like the Whiskey, the Roxy, and I think it would hold max between 500 to 1,000. But you'd never fill up the whole place. And do you guys have to sell tickets, like pre-sale? Do you guys do the pay-to-play thing like we do here in America, where you have to sell a certain amount of tickets, or otherwise you can't go on stage if you don't sell them by the time you get on stage?
Not really.
That's like I hear, but they'll take your equipment away if you don't got your money.
No. The way to work is a little bit different here. We just have to rent the place beforehand. And then after that, we just have the money with the tickets that we sell online. And
that's even better. You can actually do that here too, but like most people just usually do the pre-sale thing. But rent out the venue, and then that way you have more control of everything. And what about as far as how the government is? Like, does the Spain government censor anything that you guys do? Do you have to be conscious about what you write about or lyric wise or anything? Do you guys deal with any of that?
No,
okay, good.
I think, and sorry for if that's a bit pointy, but I think that only happens in America.
Yeah. We're definitely experiencing that stuff. It's like censorship.
No,
we were done with it in the 80s. When the PMRC tried to like censor everything, but now we're like got even worse. It seems like, but
No, I think the institutions here in Europe watch heavy metal and contracultural movements, and so they watch it like, oh, look how cute. Stick with your music and stick with your things, and don't mess with us, and everything will go fine.
Exactly, right? You do your thing out of your mind. What about as far as how do you guys book your shows? Are you booking yourselves, or do you guys have a management? Are you guys looking for management, or how does that work?
We book everything ourselves. We don't have management for the moment.
Yeah. That's good. Are you guys open to getting a manager if the right one came along that can actually get you guys in America?
For sure. If someone manager from the US want us to do a tour there, we will not say no.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Jonjo, like I noticed, like the riffs you write are just so, like I said, they're rooted in that traditional metal. Like, what was your upbringing? Like, what was the bands that inspired you as a kid or as a teenager when you first started playing guitar? Like, who was your guitar heroes?
That's a very complicated question for me always, because I have had a lot of influences from classic rock, from progressive rock. If I think about my 10 favorite songs ever, they are all prog rock songs.
Okay.
Then the heavy metal came in afterwards. So yes, I have a lot of influences from the 80s. I love the way of playing of George Lynch. I love the way of playing of Loudness guitar players. I love that style. But I don't try to fix my guitar playing into anything about that. I mean, of course, I have a lot of Van Halen influences. Who doesn't?
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
but I mean, I have a guitar in my hands. Of course, I'm going to do what Van Halen did. But apart from that,
Van Halen,
right?
Yeah, Van
Halen. Yeah, I did notice that there was I think it was a video. It might have been for Wings, the song Wings on Wings of Darkness.
Wings of Darkness.
Yeah, it might have been. I heard I had some George Lynch vibes in there somewhere. Like, you're definitely a badass guitar player. And what about you, Jimmy? Like, who's your drum hero? Let me not Neil Peart, or is it Neil Peart like most drummers say?
Yes, obviously that he's one of them. I tend to have very classic background, like John Bonham and Neil Peart and this kind of guy. In the more 80s era, I have Dave Lombardo, obviously Charlie Benante, Gar Samuelson, the first Megadeth drummer. I think he's highly underrated. I don't know. In the 90s, I have Vinnie Paul from Pantera. This guy, the one that plays in every band, Gene Hoglan. I love him. I don't know. And now, more actual, I have a drummer that I absolutely love, and I think he's also very underrated. Who's Carlos Cruz, the drummer for Warbringer. Thrash metal band from California, I believe.
I got one of their albums.
They're fantastic and an absolutely outstanding drummer.
He's like a machine on
it. He's fantastic, and he also is a songwriter and a producer. He's fantastic. I absolutely love him, and I think he doesn't have he doesn't get the credit that he deserves.
Yeah, the recognition is there. Yeah, it just needs to be out there more. I just feel like so many great talent out there, but it just gets so conglomerated with all the stuff that's out there. It's funny you mentioned John Bonham, because I was watching that little clip of you guys making I think it was making the album for Sons of the Lie. And you were doing those little drum rolls, and the first thing I noticed was like the way you're hitting those toms was like John Bonham.
I'm a heavy hitter. I usually play hard my drums, and there have been some occasions that I was in a doing a show, and during the sound check, the technician says, "Hey, can you play softer?" And it's like, "No, dude, fuck you." What the hell?
You're gonna hear me loud and proud.
Dude, this is a heavy metal show. What are you expecting?
Yeah, right. Now, since the ladies aren't here to weigh in, do you know anything about their influences, like Sally's influence as a vocalist, or Sarah's influence as a bassist? Because I mean, she's an amazing bass player. She's right in the pocket with you on those drums. It's just like, and the way she rides those rhythms, it's like perfect. Do you know anything about their influences, or?
Well,
I know Cele loves the singing of many soul and singers like Aretha Franklin and this kind of stuff. She absolutely loves Dio, Ronnie James Dio. She's a great influence for her. And of course, the heavy metal queen, Dodo Warlock. She's a great influence for her. And for Sarah, do you know Jonjo?
The Sarah vision of music is a little bit different, because she's not so focused on playing like musicians as we might do. She's more focused like sounding like bands. So she loves, of course, the traditional heavy metal, like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and Ozzy or whatever, and she just plays like them.
Well, right,
She doesn't focus on playing like somebody, but like in style.
She like takes her influences and they just kind of come out however they come out. But
exactly.
She wants to be her own.
Also, of course, the way of playing of Sarah is also very influenced by the guitar playing, because she used to be a guitar player for many years, and
original guitar player, right?
Switched to bass instantly.
Sarah is probably the member of the group who has heard more heavy metal bands. but she's not like she doesn't know a lot of musicians. She knows a lot of bands, but not many musicians. It's curious.
I'm like that too. Like I love like all the bands I love, but I'm really bad with song titles and remember. Like so I was messing up on that song title of your video. I was like, damn, it's right on my tongue. But and you what about you, Jonjo, the producer? Because you produce all this stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so like, and I noticed your guitar tone on that song "Shout," man. It's just like it's very reminiscent of the Vivian Campbell's on the Dios. And that riff is kind of close up, but it's just that's what I got that vibe from. And I was like, I haven't heard a band with that guitar sound ever, you know, like it sounds so good like that. And how did you get that? And you know, what was your approach on and what's your approach as a producer, basically? Yeah.
Well, my basic approach as a producer is to drink a lot of coffee and being obsessive. That's the way that I achieve everything in life. But no, I mean, I just started producing maybe 10 years ago, which year I am in. Yeah, maybe 10 years ago. Yes, because I just needed a producer, and the ones that were surrounding me were very expensive or didn't get the tone that I wanted to. And this is a very technical thing. I'm also engineer, so the music and the technical thing blended together into something that is music production. So I just went through it, and I've spent countless hours achieving this kind of tones and so on. I also like to design my own tones. I don't like to use the same kind of amps and same kind of mics and everything else. Of course, I'm based on Marshalls and Laney's or wherever, but I like to modify my own stuff and so on, and I like to spend countless hours equalizing, compressing, and doing my own sound. I'm trying to get the vibe that I want to transmit to people.
He's a very humble guy, but he won't say that he is one of the fewer people in Spain that knows how to make modern heavy metal music production today. There's like 5 people in Spain. Jonjo is one of them.
Oh yeah, have you produced other bands as well, or are you starting to do that?
Not so much. I'm more focused on doing my
own stuff. You have.
Yes, I did, and not just producing, mixing, and so on, but I also composed and arranged, recorded, and everything else.
That's badass. So what's the songwriting process for you guys? Are you the main songwriter there, Jonjo, or do you guys all kind of bring ideas in, or like how does that work when you got a song that like, especially for the new album?
Well, we don't have a very strict way of doing things. We have experimented a lot on how to start the composition process, but usually I get to start the songs as I'm the guitar player and so on. I just send the guys a demo or some kind of structure or idea or whatever, and then they work together to give me back that idea.
I like that.
Basically, the process is we start with a guitar riff or a series of guitar riffs, and then the song starts growing around the guitar. But it's curious because in every record we develop a new way of creating a song. For example, in a Square One, for the first time in our short history, we have a song that comes from a drum intro, and in Sons of Alive, for example, we had a song that the first thing that came up was the lyrics and the vocals, and the song was constructed that way. So. Usually we do the traditional way, which is guitar and then the rest, but there are always different ways that can lead to a song, and it's really, really cool. I enjoy a lot the process, and I believe Jonjo does it and does that well. Every member of the band.
Yeah, that's the beauty of songwriting.
I believe that songwriting is like the most beautiful part of this.
Because it could just happen anyway. There's no set rules or manual on doing it. It just comes out.
Absolutely.
In fact, one of the advantages of being not also the songwriter but also the producer is that I produce at the same time that I'm writing the song.
Okay,
So that
yeah.
way, I'm used to the final tone, or almost like 80% of the final tone that I'm getting
Okay.
with my compositions, because I realized that if you are playing with a different tone of, or whatever, you are playing with a different sound, and then you go to a studio, and then you change the sound and so on. Maybe you realize that what you have composed is not so good. So I like to get as much final tone as I want, as possible from the beginning. So
yeah. You usually know, like, right off the bat, like, whether it's going to work or not, and sometimes you'll think it works, and you go back to it 2 days later and thinking, I don't know about that, and then,
yeah, exactly. We go back and forth many times.
I've been there. Yeah. Now, how did the deal with High Roller Records come, and when did it come about, and like what is that process like, getting signed to a label like them? Because, like I said, they distribute like so much great music, and so many great artists are on that particular label, and so how did that come about?
Well, once we had several demos, and they were not the final recordings. Even drums weren't recorded; they were MIDI drums that we used to just set up the demos and so on. We realized that we had enough to show the record labels our work. We thought about High Roller Records, that they were maybe one of the first record labels that we wanted to ask them is if they were interested into our work, and they were.
Cool, nice. So, yeah.
Lucky us.
Yeah. Did you?
That was a huge surprise, and working with them has been absolutely fantastic. They respect a lot the times and the space of the band. They respect a lot the creative process, the ideas. It's fantastic. We are very happy working with High Roller, and hopefully we'll do it again in the future.
Yeah, so they don't put a lot of pressure on you guys, saying like, oh, you need to have this record done by this amount of time. They give you that.
Not at all. In fact, we have a series of delays because of our personal matters. We don't professionally work as musicians, so we have jobs, and we have families, and we have girlfriends and stuff. So we had a series of delays, and they said, no problem, guys. Take your time, do a good record, and we'll go whenever you are ready. And so we did.
It's amazing. Oh yeah, I love that. What about, so the video Still Standing, again, that's like what caught my eye was, seeing that video and the way you guys acted out. A lot goes into the video. Who comes up with the ideas, and like, what is the budget like to shoot a video like that? Or is it, you guys are able to just do that on your own?
No, the idea, I thought of the idea. I don't know exactly why, but I thought that maybe like the lyrics of the song were talking about struggling with life, and and I said, why don't we do a video where we torture the singer, which is always good. And and then it turns out that it has an amazing surprise, and maybe it's all in your head. I don't want to make a spoiler. I'm sorry. So and I exposed the idea to the guys, and they like it, and we contacted a producer that is called not producer. How do you say? Video makers that in Barcelona that are cultural dogs. One of the guys that works there is the singer of Cry6. I don't know if you know that band.
No, I've heard of them,
a thrash metal band from Spain. And and they liked the idea. We talked about it, and we went to Barcelona. We had a weekend there, an amazing weekend, because in Barcelona we had a lot of friends. We have played there, and we love it. And and we filmed it, and it was curious because we made the part of the playthrough, the band playing. We record that, and then. We recorded the story, but we weren't. Jonjo and I, we weren't in the story. Only the girls were filming it, and we didn't know what we were gonna see. We didn't know what they were shooting, and so this is during the I will say it.
We didn't want to know
we didn't want to know what did they shoot. We want a surprise, and this is the first product of the band that we didn't fully control. Him or me. It's the first product of Rave In Fire that we had a little amount of surprise for ourselves, and it was really cool.
They knocked it out of the park. I'm going to show a clip, like, you know, when I do the editing, I'll show a clip of the video crowd and stuff. And what about the album cover? The album cover for Sons of a Lie, and then the album cover for this, I'm noticing like there's a theme there, right? Is there a concept between these characters? Because I noticed they're on the, like, you got the alligator guy right there, and then you got the alligator coming out, you know, on the next album. Is these albums like a concept as far as like what's the overall, I guess, theme of your music or these albums?
The alligator is called Lizardo.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's like our own, like our own Eddie, or like our own big rattlehead. Yeah, it's cool. Our mascot. Nice. And I don't know. The alligator came out of a comic book. Actually, I was reading a comic book and I saw like a humanoid alligator, and I said, "Dude, that's amazing! I want that in my cover." And it turned out that way. We talked to the illustrator, who's my tattoo artist, and we said, "Hey, would you be interested in do this and see what you can do?" And she made the cover for our Sons of a Lie. We loved it. So it's like we wanted to represent like a bit like a bar, like a cyberpunk bar. Like a little bit like Somewhere in Time, Blade Runner, a little bit of that, but with animals.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit too, like, you know, like with all the different
as well. And I don't know, it turned out very naturally. Actually, it's right, like, do you want to put an alligator in the cover? Okay, let's go for it. And
I like that idea. Like
and we love the cyberpunk and that type of atmosphere, and so we went that way, and so far so good.
Who writes the lyrics in the band? Like, what are your main themes that you touch on? I guess a lot of it's on human experiences, right? Like still standing and shout, you know, like empowerment, self-empowerment sounds like, and a lot of stuff. Is that kind of like, do you guys plan that, or is it just kind of comes natural, like the songs?
The main lyric writer is Cele, the singer. And she tends to write a lot about personal experiences and personal feelings and that kind of stuff. I also write lyrics, and Jonjo has also write a few. And we tend to go over that personal side of our lives and stuff. But we also try to tell stories that had nothing to do. I don't know. That's a little bit of everything, but we tend to do more like intimistic, personal lyrics with our personal experiences and stuff. Yeah.
Nice. What's your overall fan base like? So do you guys receive, like, you know, back in the day we get fan mail, like, you know, snail mail, but are you guys getting messages? And I would imagine you read comments. Like, what is your overall fan base there locally? Like, you guys have fans wanting to meet you after the show and things like that, or is it how does that go? It's good.
Well, most of our fan base are just friends that we know from every other club that we told you before here in Spain. Of course, there is some outsiders of this club that they know us for the first time on its show, but most of the time we know most of the people.
And then you can always tell your fan base internationally just by reading comments on your videos and stuff, because like that's what I've noticed. Like a lot of people are, you know, really into what you guys are doing, especially on that new wave of traditional heavy metal bands. If you read the comments on your videos, it's, you know, people are like, "Oh my god, this is badass," and "I love this band," and so some good stuff.
We have comments from of "Come to Brazil," so everything's okay. If you don't have that comment in one of your videos, you're no one. We have it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I definitely want you guys to come to America, Portland, Oregon specifically, if you guys can get your way over here. What about as far as, have you guys thought about doing the festival thing? I mean, I could see you guys being on one of those big festivals like Wacken or somewhere like that. I mean, have you thought about approaching that particular step to get on one of
yes,
those?
of course.
Yeah.
Every year we do like a little bit of testing. Like, hey, would you be interested in playing that? And so far, we went to smaller festivals, not as big as Wacken or Hellfest, but eventually I think maybe we can go to some of those Wacken, Graspop, Hellfest, or something like that. Obviously, it would be a dream come true.
Yeah, and I think on those festivals, the big ones, I know there's like a buy-in opportunity where you can actually buy a spot on the stage where you play like early or whatever. I think it's like, I don't know what the cost is, but it's definitely worth it if you think about it. Like if let's say it costs 10 grand or whatever, well, you're gonna be in front of that amount of audience, and you're probably going to sell a lot of merchandise if you bring your merchandise with you and stuff like that. So it's probably
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called a buy-in or something. Like, I know most of the festivals here in America do it. I'm pretty sure they do it over there in the I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure what the cost is. Does High Roller Records support you guys financially at all, or do, like, like most record labels would give you like an advance, or like if you need to tour, do they give you money for that, or are they just mostly like a distributor for you guys?
Our deal with High Rollers is just distribution.
Okay.
Cool. They don't represent us as far as the physical copies of the CD of the album. So they don't do for us management or represent us in that kind of way. So our deal with them is distribution. So
so you can be like, hey, High Roller, we want to play this festival, it's going to cost 10 grand. They won't give you that, right? You got to pretty much come up with that on your own, which is And if they ask for us 10 grand, I'm sorry, we don't have them. My old band Will O Wisp, we got signed to a label like it was like 99 or whatever. It was Full Moon Productions out of Florida, and they were like a black metal, death metal label, but they give us $10,000 advance, and we blew like $3 grand on the recording and did a really good recording and everything, but we spent the rest of the money on equipment and just kind of blew it, whatever. And then we called them, like, yeah, is there going to be a tour? And they're like, well, how much of that 10,000 you got left? We got nothing. Well, then there's no tour. It's like, oh shit, we didn't know we had to use that too to, like, tour or whatever. Like, you can't tour on, like, well, I guess in 99 you could have toured on at least 5 grand.
Obviously, we received some we received some money from High Roller to make the album and the music video. And they bought from us the rights of distribution. So but it has nothing to do with touring.
With touring, that's like you probably have to go down some other avenue for that, or just pay out of pocket. But again, like I said, if you can land one of those festivals, and if it doesn't cost more than 5 grand or 10 grand just to get in front of that big of a crowd, I would imagine you're going to make your money back. Not only that, you're going to get all that exposure. But it's something to look into. I think you guys deserve to be on a stage in front of that many people, because I mean, like I said, you're an amazing sounding band, and I want to see bands like you take to that next level.
Thank you.
It's crazy that when people say, oh, rock and metal's dead, there's no good bands, it's like, well, you're looking in the wrong places, man. For one, it's like,
that type of comments comes from people that have lost their curiosity. Absolutely.
They lost their curiosity and they just sort of checked out, and what about it, like, because I did see some live clips that you guys had played, and I noticed Sally's like really good with the crowd, and her vocals are really good. What's been like your favorite gig that you played, as far as your most memorable moment on stage?
I have a few. Valencia 2023. That was an amazing show. We were called to play because one of the bands couldn't make it, and it was like, oh my god, who do we call? And a guy said, call Rave In Fire, and we were there, and we got to play with the Ram, the Swedish heavy metal band. I don't know if you know them. Ram.
Okay.
And Cryptos from India, and Iron Curtain. They are from Spain.
Oh, I've heard about it.
And it was a fantastic show. It was amazing. And we also played last summer. We played in a festival in Burgos. It's a town in northern Spain, and it was absolutely amazing. It was the most crowded show that we have. It could be around 1,000, a little bit more, And we had an amazing time. It was fantastic. What about you, Jonjo?
Maybe Trondheim, like 2 summers ago. I mean, the experience of traveling to Germany, to being picked up at the airport and so on. I mean, I felt like a rock star.
Yeah,
this is what I deserve.
Jonjo, what age were you when you decided you wanted to play guitar? But not only that, did you decide that I want to be in a band? I want to just be like, how old were you? And like, what gave you that experience? Did you see something on TV or heard a band or something?
I played piano before guitar. I played piano from 11 years old. So I've always been involved into music, and I have a very, I'm very music oriented, so it all came naturally. So the first time that I wanted to flirt with a girl, I just picked up a guitar and just started playing like everyone else. So the first time that I wanted to be in a band, it was also because of a girl, which is the current girl that I'm with, which is Sarah. So
I've been there.
That's my motivation.
And Atlanta, you do a good girl. Like, she's got a great bass player. She's a girlfriend. So
I'll tell her.
Right, definitely. What about you, Jimmy? Like, when did you get that bug? When did you get the bug bite that you wanted to be a rock star or play music?
I think I've always dreamed of something like that. I've always been very musical and very rhythmic. I was the kid that was every time, So I started playing drums around 13 years old, I believe, playing with friends and a little bit of AC/DC and Metallica and this kind of stuff. And around when I was 19 or 20, I said, let's get a little bit more serious. And I took some lessons and stuff, and formed more serious bands But I'm not a very methodical musician. I must confess. I can. I have seasons that I play like 5 hours a day, and I play a lot. And there are seasons where I don't pick a stick in months. This is not my job, so I can do whatever I want. You know what I mean?
Right. But the fact that you could just pick it up and still be good, I mean, that's what.
No, so far so good.
Right. What about as far as your family? Were they always supportive of you guys being a musician, or did they try to steer you into more different direction as far as like try to discourage you? Do you have anybody to try to discourage you in life?
No, fortunately, they even encouraged me to play music and so on. They are not musicians, but they find it a very good thing to do. I mean, I have had a lot of good experiences, so they don't have to worry.
Well, that's good.
They think they don't have to
worry. Because every parent's nightmare is like, oh my God, they're going to get into drugs and alcohol, and which I ended up doing. I ended up getting really bad with alcohol and drugs, and I'm 14 years sober now. But at the time, it was like, I struggled. but like, luckily, I guess you guys don't have to really. You don't hear a whole lot about bands, like especially from Europe, that really struggle too much in the drugs and alcohol type scene. It seems. I mean, I know it's present and it's relevant, but it just seems like it's not as like bad as like being in Los Angeles and on the Sunset Strip and just that was the thing. Just drink and do drugs. Cocaine at the Rainbow Bar and Grill.
Well, in Spain in the 80s, it was like that. It was like
I would imagine, right?
There was a lot of smack and all those kind of things. And
a lot of heroin.
A lot of heroin. Yeah. So what's the future hold for Rave In Fire? Do you guys, I know you say you're rehearsing till the end of January. Did you say you have a tour coming up or something, or what do you guys do?
We have a few shows here around Spain to present our new album. And yeah, we are rehearsing because we have to prepare this show. There are a lot of new songs that we've never played live. So yeah, basically now we are preparing to give a good show, and hopefully we will. We'll see.
Right.
And right now we are focused in the promotion of the new album and defend it live. We know that there will be more shows where we can show up, we can present it, and hopefully we'll get some tour, some dates out of Spain. I believe we will. But if not, it's okay. We are happy with what we have, and trying to put on.
You do it for the love, you know, and it's like, you know,
absolutely.
With it. Like if you get a major tour, or if you get like a major record deal, where it's like that's just icing on the cake, you know. But the fact that you just love it, you know, I always tell people, you got to love what you got to want to get into a band or start playing. Well, don't get into it thinking you're going to get rich and be a rock star. You got to love it. You got to love it first, because all that stuff will come only if you keep doing the hard work. But when that stuff does come, it's just icing on the cake. It doesn't mean that's not what's going to define you. What defines you is your love and your passion for
absolutely. So that's it. We try to keep on, and if we play in front of 100 people, it's fantastic. And if we play in front of 1 million, absolutely fantastic.
Exactly,
so
and I always tell people, like, you know, and I've had this experience when we first moved to LA, like, you know, we had to play those gigs where you had like 3 people in the audience, right? And my guitar player, he had his back turned to the crowd, and I go, dude, you turn around, because you got to play to those 3 people as if you're playing to 1,000 people or 2,000 people, because those 3 people are going to go home. They're going to tell their friends about how good you were, and they're going to bring 6 more people with them in the next gig.
Absolutely.
And you got to build your following. But yeah, never just act like, oh my God, why I got to be here. Like, no, you got to put on that show. Just be, you know, be in character, you know.
There's a story of an Spanish band called Berri Charrac from the Basque Country, northern Spain, that they played a gig in France for 1 person.
Wow. Dang.
Only 1 person showed to that gig, and they played the whole show with that guy, and they made it to the newspaper, and it was like, dude, this band plays for 1 guy, and they were quite famous, but they were more, they reached more people just for doing that 1 show. Respect the audience, especially if the audience is very small.
Exactly. You gotta just do your thing, man, no matter what. And so it's been amazing having you guys on. And when's the album come out? Like, so Square One, what's the release date on that?
January 30.
Okay, January 13th. I was thinking it was in February, but I guess it's in January. Yeah, cool. So I'm gonna definitely get that. And I got the other one coming on the way through Amazon. And we're gonna get out there and get it on Amazon, or go to High Roller Records, because you got to support this band no matter what. You got to support the underground, the upper ground, whatever. But you know, like I said, we need more bands like you. And I mean, again, I just want you to hit that next level and just be that band that's going to carry the flag, you know, because
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
I mean,
thank you very much, Eric. We are honored to be in this interview, and hopefully
and I'm going to put all your links. Yep, and I'm going to put all your links in my description of the video, all that good stuff. And yeah, it's been definitely a pleasure having it. Definitely want you guys coming back on in the future, you know. So let me know what you guys are, you know, especially once the album comes out. Maybe we can touch base after the album comes out, and you guys get a few shows in on that. I'd like to hear about the crowd and the reception of it and all that good stuff. And yeah, all right, guys.
Well, we'll be here.
You got to be kind to yourselves, because if you're not good to yourselves, you're no good to anyone else. And on that note, horns up and peace out. Yeah.
The Rock and Metal Block.